stories to lift each other, give hope to push us further, and encourage one another. Behind the scenes beauty.
Sam J is an Emmy-nominated comedian who is heating up the comedy circuit. She has appeared on numerous comedy specials, including Comedy Central Presents, Just for Laughs, and she went on to receive her own special on Netflix entitled 3 a.m. in the Morning with Sam J. She has taken her talents to the small screen as an Emmy-nominated writer on SNL, and her show she co-created on Peacock called The Bust Down. She even had her own show for 2 seasons with HBO called Pause with Sam J. This powerhouse comedian talks the loss of her friend and co-star Jack Knight, what goes into writing sketch comedy, and how she views doing comedy in this new cancel culture climate. All right, so we are with another episode of Behind the Scenes Beauty. And
Can my drink be right here?
Your drink can be anywhere it
That's
wants.
cute.
Listen, I have with me, she's a comedian, she's an actor, she's a writer, she's a lot of things. What else are you that I don't know?
I play video games. I'm a video gamer.
She's a video gamer.
Yeah.
She has her own show on HBO.
I do.
Called Pause with Sam J. She has a comedy special out on Netflix. Definitely make sure you check it out. We have the amazing comedian, Sam J. Yay! Sam, we have tried to make this happen.
Yes.
And we are here.
Yeah, this is exciting.
Let's tell the people what your fiance calls me.
Swoop.
She calls me Swoop. So when I met Sam J through her makeup artist for her show, when we started hanging out, they would always be like, "Where is Swoop?" And it was like, so my nickname is Swoop, but that's neither here nor there. Let's get into it. So I've been studying you all day. I've been going through all your stuff, and I'm trying to make sure I don't say what Sway in the Morning said or what Charlamagne said. So I want to make sure that our interview is fresh, it's lively, it's new. So anyway, let's go with the basic question that's going to be the same though. Where are you from?
I'm from Boston.
You're
Boston,
from
Massachusetts. Yeah.
Massachusetts. Okay, so what's growing up in Boston like? Because a lot of people don't know. A lot of black people.
From Boston.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. It's weird because there's a lot of black people in Boston. So growing up there, it felt very regular to me, you know? I lived in a black community. I'm from a black family, so I didn't feel out of place, I guess, until I went to a Catholic school, and I was mostly white, Irish kid. So there'll be stuff like that where you're kind of like, oh, I'm a little bit singled out. But overall, it was great because it was home. All my cousins are there, you know? I grew up with a lot of family, a lot of cousins.
So did you grow up in like a traditional 2-parent home? Your mom was a single mom? Which one
No,
was
I had a stepfather. My dad died when I was very young,
Okay.
so I never met him. But I had a man who was my father, that was the only father I knew. His name was Sidney. And I had like 2 parents.
Okay.
They both
Gotcha.
worked.
So you still knew you had that
Yeah,
whole.
they both worked.
And you have siblings?
I have 2 brothers.
Okay. You talk about one of your siblings in the show. We'll get to that. But so you grew up in Boston. So how do you know that you can be funny? Like, what sparked in you?
I have a funny family, so everyone's kind of funny in their own right. And we're like a get around, tell stories, tell jokes, tell stories about each other type of family.
Right.
So I just think like a little bit of being funny is just like was a part of keeping up with the group.
Right.
And just keeping up with what everybody else around me. I think I didn't realize like, oh, like it works on other people to like school, you know? And then you're joking around. I was a bit of a class clown. Back of the classroom kind of kid.
Yeah.
Like to make jokes and stuff like that. But it never was like, oh, like you funny. It was just like, oh, I'm funny. You know?
Right.
I always kind of was my friends would expect me to kind of be the comic relief of a situation or something like that. But it didn't feel like anything. It just felt like, whatever.
I'm just being me.
Yeah, it didn't really feel like anything that could be the potential of anything until like I was in my 20s.
Okay, and so you're in your 20s and you decide, because this is the thing, especially when it comes to comedy. I've had Joy Behar on here. I've had Tiffany Haddish on here. And I'm always interested about putting your foot out to be funny. Because, you know, as a hairstylist, you just decide to go to cosmetology school. What do you do when you're like, I want to put myself out there? We're like, what is the first thing you go to do?
It's bleak. You just go do open mics. It's really bleak.
But like, I mean, who even tells you about open mic? Like,
Well, I had the advantage of I had my cousin's husband was a stand-up comedian.
Okay. So you did have like a slight blueprint.
I had a little bit of like a person I could ask what to do.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And that was kind of my way in. And also I was just obsessed with comedy even before I got into comedy. So I would watch comics a lot. I would watch their interviews a lot.
So who's your favorite? Like,
I don't have a
give me your
favorite
top
comic.
three. Or do you not want to say?
I don't have a favorite. And it always changes too.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like depending on.
Well, who do you feel like you connect with? Who, when you see that, you like, oh my God, like I
like Bill Burr a lot. I just think he's funny as all hell and a great joke writer. I like Chappelle a lot. I like Wanda Sykes a lot. I like all types of comedy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really hard to narrow that down and go like, this is it for me. Like,
Gotcha.
I just like all types of comics. I like I like Michael Ian Black. I like a wide range of comics too.
Okay. So, your mother passed, right?
Yes.
How old were you when your mom passed?
16.
Okay. How did that affect you? And I asked that question because my mom died when I was 11. So
16. I mean, I don't know. It's tough when you know that's like your kind of for a young lady. That's a big part of your life.
Yeah.
A big
That's the
moment in your life.
transitional moment.
It's a transitional moment, and it was truly an upheaval for sure. It was definitely like my life was like in shambles afterwards. You know, that kind of feeling of just like a feeling of lost. I didn't really know. I didn't have any direction. You know, I feel like I spent a lot of time kind of in a haze. And I think mainly because we weren't like a rich family, it just made me have to get out in the world a lot earlier than I was ready to get out in the world.
Gotcha. So, in your show, you talk about your brother who was incarcerated. Well, just so I'll go ahead and put this up because we'll go back into your life, but I want to talk about the part of the show. You really put a lot on, like when it comes to pause, I feel like you just, because I related with the grief, because that's where you in this second season you talked about your mom's passing. I actually downloaded those songs that you played at the mock funeral.
Oh, yeah.
I downloaded, I play them like the whole thing. But you talk about what happens to people after they've been incarcerated and all those situations. Was that before your mom passed or was it after?
Yeah, before.
Okay, so
He got out and my mom probably passed away like less than a year later.
Okay.
after
Well, at
he
least
got
he
out.
still at
Yeah,
least had
yeah.
that opportunity. Gotcha.
For sure.
Gotcha.
I think she was kind of like holding on for that a little bit, you know?
Gotcha.
She wanted to see her son not behind bars, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. So, okay, so you're going through that whole moment. You start going to open mic nights. When was the moment that you felt like, okay? Because I know in an interview you talked about how the first time you got booed.
I got booed.
And you said, and I actually thought that was funny when you was on Sway and you said, you know, by that time life had already booed you.
Yeah, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
When you had that first instance where you got on stage and you got booed, for all of our listeners here where it's so difficult taking that first step forward and for the nightmare to become the reality, what did you tell yourself to not stop? Because a lot of people would stop early because they don't have that instant gratification.
You know what? At that point, I was 29 years old doing some shit I hated. Like, life had booed me. You know what I'm saying? So, being up there, I was like, whatever, dog. Yeah, whatever, bro. We just gonna keep pushing. Like,
Got it.
I have been booed by life like 80 million times by that. So I just really didn't give a
Another
shit.
right. What's 81?
Yeah,
right.
I didn't really care at that point.
Because I always wonder, like, how someone, you know, constantly puts themselves. What builds you up to constantly put yourself out there like that?
I think I was just at a place where I was like, I just don't care. You know, like, you cared, it's nerve-wracking, but I think I was very realistic with myself. I'm very much one of those people that, like, talks myself up and through things. And I was very, like, everyone's not gonna like you if you're gonna do this, like, people might boo you. You know, like
Right.
it's just a possibility.
Right.
And you need to kind of accept that it's a possibility. You know.
So okay, when you writing your jokes, what's like do you have a process? Or you like, or do you like? How does someone even like? I'm just really amazed with people that do comedy because I feel like it's a very like you have to be witty, like because it's a fine balance of being smart with it, but also being something that people can relate to, and it's funny. Like, so how do you decide what's going to be your material to talk about?
Honestly, if it just excites me, if it's just a topic that I'm excited about, I usually, if I can yell about it for like 20 minutes, it's probably something I want to talk about on stage. If I like argue someone down over it, I'm usually oh yeah, this is probably something I want to like talk about on stage. So really, it's just stuff that I'm interested in or it excites me, and like.
I'm from a city where the white dudes either do meth or they work plumbing, you know what I mean? But they do something. I never seen so many able-bodied white dudes just sleeping on the street, you know? And I really hated when they would ask me for money, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a black lesbian, I'm never gonna give you shit.
Things that make me nervous, ideas that make me feel a little bit like, oh, I don't know how people are gonna receive this. You know, those, I kind of try to run towards those ideas.
Okay, because so you run towards the stuff that sort of put a little fear in you.
Yeah.
Okay, because because I was gonna ask, when you're deciding on a joke and trying to figure out if what's too far and what's like, how do you temper it? When do you say, maybe not that? Maybe I shouldn't say that.
It really depends on what I feel like I'm bringing to it and what I have to say. You know what I mean? Like, if the joke is just the joke for the joke's sake and it doesn't really move the conversation forward, and I've heard another kind of version of this being said, it's like, it's not really necessary for me to say this.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So like, I won't say it. You know what I mean? Because, you know, you're thinking about, your brain's kind of like constantly generating material.
Right.
So you do have to do just some self-editing of like, all of this isn't valuable.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So do you go around and you have like in your phone like, maybe like...
Yeah, that's exactly what I do.
Here.
I just like jot down little lines. If you looked, it would be very crazy. It would be like, doo-doo on the train. Asian people need help. Baloney. You know, it's like just random. Only I can decipher what it is I'm even talking about.
Gotcha. Okay, so when I talked to Joy Behar, she said she has no interest in doing comedy anymore because of the climate that we're in with comedy. Why don't you like to do stand-up anymore?
Well, there's besides the anxiety, the atmosphere is a little different now. People tweet about you, they tape your show, they get mad if you say something they don't like.
Right.
And they make that go viral sometimes. I don't need to do it anymore.
Gotcha.
It's too stressful now. Besides the stress of performing, I got on top of that these annoying people out there who don't let you live.
Right. Well, I still feel like you get to do it because I always enjoy your jokes on the show every day.
It's been 25 years of trying to be funny on The View.
How do you feel about the climate?
I mean, I'm doing comedy. You know, I think some of the older comics have that privilege too because they're just like making money doing a bunch of other things. But as a comic doing comedy, I don't know, you just can't care too much. You know, it holds as much weight as you give it. You know what I'm saying? It is your singular opinion that you're saying up there. So the likelihood that somebody might not like it is high because it's just my opinion. I don't think sometimes people forget that. It's not the facts of the world. It's not a true statement most of the time.
Right.
It's just what the fuck I think.
Right.
So,
right.
It's very possible someone can be like, I do not think that, you know, or I don't agree with that thought. So I just kind of try not to put too much stake in whatever cancel culture is, and I just try to make sure I'm telling jokes that I believe in so that if it ever does come to that, I can stand on the joke and say, no, this is why I did it, and I believe in the reason why I did it, you know?
Gotcha. Okay, so you were also a writer on SNL, and I think I didn't know this either until I was looking into your background today, that you are a co-writer of the Jeopardy sketch.
The Chadwick Boseman one, not all of them.
Okay, but that was one of the better
sketch.
ones,
That was like a thing that was there from before I even got there.
Gotcha. But that one was one of the best ones, actually. Literally,
think,
the raisin with his accent and the raisin. And
the raisin.
Were you responsible for raisin?
No, Che wrote that. That was a Michael Che line.
Okay. Okay. So, well, but how does that feel to see something that you wrote being acted out and received so well? Like, what is that feeling like?
I mean, it's just crazy, really. I don't know if it's like, oh, it feels great. It just feels insane, and like that's the power of that show is like things immediately.
Because how did that even come about?
The sketch?
How did you even get to Saturday Night Live?
Oh, a series of random events a little bit. I did JFL, which was this big comedy showcase in Montreal. It's like the biggest comedy festival in the world, and like everybody comes out, all the networks and all the like comedy department people, and everybody comes out. And I got this thing called New Faces, and New Faces is like JFL's anointing of like, this is the upcoming talent of comedy, whatever the fuck. And a bunch of agents and stuff come out to that showcase. It's like kind of the reason people go, is to go see New Faces and see how you did on your set. And way back in the day, it was like, I tell people got TV deals and all that shit. Like you could leave New Faces with a deal,
right.
you know, with like, hey, we're gonna develop a show around you.
Gotcha.
That was like the power of New Faces. It's not that anymore, but it still can move the needle quite a bit for you. And I did it. I did well. There were some SNL people there. They saw me. They, I think, went to a couple other shows that week that I was in Montreal. They called and they were like, oh, would she audition in LA? I was living in LA at the time. I went to this very intense, crazy audition with like 50 people that were like all corralled in this one room, nervous as all hell. And we all had like 2 minutes or something. It was like really ridiculous. And I got up and I probably did 3 minutes or 4 minutes because.
So are you doing a sketch?
Pure stand up. Because when they had called, I told my manager, I was like, I don't do sketch. That was my answer.
Right.
So I was like, I don't know what the fuck they're calling me for. And she was like, no, they said you can do your stand up. And I was like, well, they're gonna let me do my stand up. Sure, I'll go to the audition. I was like, but if they're gonna like try to throw me off and tell me to do characters and shit, like I ain't with it. You know what I mean? Like let them know I'm not playing that game.
Oh, so you never wanted to be necessarily in the sketch, or you didn't want to do that in the audition?
I didn't want to pretend to do something I know I don't do. Because that's, to me, no way to get a job. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get up there and be like, here's Jamaican lady going to work. When that ain't what the fuck I do. So, I just was trying to be very clear, like,
right.
I don't do that.
My time, yeah. I don't do that.
I don't do that.
Okay.
So they were like, no, we just want her stand up. So I did it, and they were like, will she come audition in New York in front of Lauren? I went and I auditioned in front of Lauren and the other producers at 30 Rock. They liked me. I got a call from Eric Kinward, who's one of the head writers at the time, and he was like, hey, we love you. We were wondering if you would come write for the show. And I was like, oh, so I guess I'm ugly, whatever, I guess. Fine.
You want me behind the scenes. You
Yeah,
don't want me in
I'm like,
front of the
okay.
camera.
It felt like a little bit of a slight, but then I checked my little dumb ego. And I was like, dude, first of all, you don't even do sketch. You made it painfully clear.
Right.
You don't even do characters. So like, is this really like a fucking slight where you
Right.
like, SNL is one of those weird things too, where it's like, you don't want it. It's not, you're not thirsty for it until it's in your stratosphere.
Gotcha.
At least for me, it was like I could have.
weren't even thinking about
I
it.
could have cared less about that show.
Right.
And then it was like you could be on this show, and I'm like, I want this fucking show. You know, it just
Right.
put you in this. So I had to check all of that. Like, dude, 2 months ago you didn't even care. Like, chill out. This is an opportunity. You know, it's an opportunity to go to one of the best institutions of learning comedy.
Right.
Essentially. On the fucking planet, and like learn how to write, which I was writing little things here and there, but I had never written for a show, even if it's a sketch show. I never had sat down and gotten that discipline with writing. And I was like, and you're gonna be writing with like the best people to write sketch. And so I was just like, yeah, fuck it, just go and just like kind of see what happens. You know?
And so, okay, you say you write your first sketch and that was not good.
No, they were bad for a long time.
How long does it take you to get into the groove? On your way out when you decide to leave?
I'm almost the end of my first season. It was like around March when I got something to the table that it like worked, and I was like, I think I'm starting to understand the mechanics of how to actually do this.
Right.
And then I would say I wouldn't call myself a sketch writer till like that next season, kind of like right before Christmas break.
So you was going in real confident then.
The next season, right before Christmas break, I was like, okay, I think I know my voice in sketch and like what I'm doing.
Okay, so you finally feel like, are you nervous about the fact that like, okay, I don't feel like I'm performing like I should be, or I'm not coming up with, and are you thinking like I'm possibly, or are they?
Oh, I'm sure I'm gonna get fired every day.
But are there people that are there saying like, no, this
of course,
is the
but I
process?
believe they're liars.
They are not telling any
I'm like,
truth.
they're lying, and I'm gonna get fired tomorrow, and that's just gonna be what this is.
Okay.
And I felt like that for a year.
Oh, okay. So how did you come in contact with Prentice Penny? Now, for those that don't know who Prentice Penny is, could you tell us?
Prentice Penny is a short, sexy, flexy nigga that wears 2 fancy shoes and lies about having a perm.
Oh.
You tell him I said it. Nah, Prentice is I want to say EP showrunner for Insecure.
What other shows? I felt like he known
My
for?
show. What other shows? I think those
like
might be the only shows.
Okay.
I know he's developing stuff, but I think that might be the only shows.
Okay.
He's done a movie,
Okay.
and he's just a cool ass dude.
So how did you guys come in contact with each other?
The very traditional Hollywood way, like agent to manager pipeline is how that all happened. My manager knew his agent. She knew he had a situation at HBO, and he was developing a late night show, he was developing a late night show. And he was looking for someone to be the face of the show. She sent his agent my special. He watched it, he liked it. He was like, I want to talk with her. We talked like once a week for like a month and just talked. He would just like pick my brain, ask me what I think about things. We would just chat for like an hour and a half, once a week for like a month. And then my manager's like, do you like him? And I was like, he's actually cool, I like him. I didn't think I was going to. I tell him this all the time. And
why didn't you think you were gonna like him? You just felt like he was too Hollywood.
Because that hair in them shoes, I was thrown off. So I was just like, I dug him, and I thought he was cool, and we just vibed well. We really did just vibe well, and we seemed to share some, like benchmark principles. I can't think of the word, but we just really seemed to connect on some solid ground. And I was like, I think I could do something with him. And he was like, I like her. I want to do something with her. And he went to HBO and was like, I like her. I want to do the show with her. I had already kind of had a relationship with HBO. They knew me as a comic out in the world and as a stand-up. And they were like, we love Sam. We're interested in that as well. And that's just kind of how it came together. And then we...
was HBO ready though? Because
Because
if you haven't seen the show, please watch it. Because, oh my God, it's you have butt naked basketball. You have people playing butt naked basketball. In your first season, you were topless. You were topless. Oh my God! Like, what is your thought process to put yourself out so much? Because, like I was saying earlier, the show each week is a topic. You bring up a topic and you a lot of it's very dear and near to your heart, it feels like, you know, and some of it's just some stuff you're interested about, Black conservatives or whatever.
What at your core makes you conservative?
I don't think the Democrats are smiling at us. I think they look down at us more than Republicans do. Eating fried chicken and saying, I got hot sauce in my bag is relatable enough for us to fall for that trap.
Olivia, girl, you just need your own party, bitch.
So what is your thought process in putting yourself out there, and are you ever like, ooh, I'm doing too much?
Sometimes, you know, sometimes I'm definitely like, and there's things I've said in the room like, yeah, I'm not gonna talk about that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
nah, I don't think I want to talk about that one
Right.
or whatever. You know, there's definitely things I won't do. But honestly, it's just to show that shows really find themselves. And it's honestly just the show that came to us, you know? As me and Prentice really got into what we wanted the show to do, why we felt it was like important to make a show right now. If we were gonna make a show, like what were we trying to say with it and do with it in the space of late night? We just started to really think about what we were already seeing and what we felt needed to be serviced. And the show kind of just revealed itself to us in a way.
And because you're on a horse going.
Yeah.
Like it's so many. Oh my God, my favorite is you in the courtroom when you're the judge. And
Yes, go judge me.
Janae says she's a Trump supporter whose parents had kicked her out on the street for being too American. She claims she loves Jesus, unfinished babies, and scorched crosses. She feels that if people just talk to the police a little nicer, they'd be a little nicer. She's asking for $150,000 to fund the police and to fund, well, Janae.
It says here you went to CPAC and you hate cornbread?
Your Honor, I made it all up. I'm not a Republican. I'm not even a Presbyterian. These white people out here giving away free money to Black ladies in Trump hats. So who am I not to take it?
So you're telling me you committed fraud and financial crimes to trick some white people out their money?
Yes, Your Honor. I saw the bag and I chased it.
Bitch, well done. Hell yeah. I can't even be mad at you. This isn't even your fault. You know why? Because these stupid crackers always be believing that stupid cracker shit, bitch. Yes.
That's what I say.
You know what, girl? You deserve a boat. You should get you one. I know a guy who can hook you up.
Yeah, keep America great, baby. Do it. Yeah.
And keep us paid, you know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm talking about.
Hell yeah, they together too. That.
Yes.
That's my.
One of my the worst shooting day of my fucking life.
Why was that?
I was so pissed. I was exhausted. I feel like I've been shooting for like a week. I've been shooting for a week. That particular day, we did like 3 different things. So I was like, I did an interview in the morning. I had done the Sisterhood of the Seahorse, pregnant the women who don't want to have kids.
Yes.
I had done that sketch in the before lunch, and then after lunch we were doing Go Judge Me. So I was just like fucking like tapped. I was fucking tapped, and of course, as set things weren't going smoothly.
Of course.
And I had my first like diva tantrum. I had a full tantrum.
Okay, so question: is Prentice? Does he egg you on, or does he try to pull you back?
Nah, he'd be like, go ahead, go crazy.
Whatever way
He'd be like, go ahead, girl. He truly just like, you want to do that? Let's try to do that.
Gotcha. Okay, so you also did the Bust Down on Peacock.
Bust down with my good friends.
Yes. And sadly, we just lost
Yeah,
your
rest in
friend,
peace, Jack.
Jay.
Yeah.
Well, just to touch on that and depression and sadness with comedians, because we never know, you know. What is your take on that whole situation? Why do you feel like comedians, you know, I work with Whoopi, and Robin Williams was one of her close friends, and he experienced the same thing, and people never really, it's like they don't see it happening, and then just next thing you know, it's there. What is your take on that?
I mean, I think it's just a combination of things. I think as comics, you know, I think it's easy to like tears of a clown, but I just think also as comics, you're just a super critical thinker. You're constantly like breaking this whole experience down. Mm-hmm. You're just constantly, and that can lead to some lack of, I'm trying to look for the word. It's like, it can make you apathetic to it.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like I know I go through those bouts.
And you start to take on all this emotion.
Yeah, and it's like I go through these bouts of
breaking
like, this is all pointless. what are we? What are we even doing? You know?
Right.
Really, what is this? Why are we having these fake interactions for these like fake moments? When is this gonna actually be real and feel real? And I think that shit just can like really dig wormholes in your brain.
Right.
If you allow it, and then a tragedy or a moment or a shift happens, and that shit's just been swirling in there, and it's just like a bad combination.
Gotcha. Because, I mean, because he was such a beloved comedian. He was great on your show. He helped write on Pause as well.
Helped write, damn near create.
And it's
from
like
the ground up.
Yeah, like
my best friend.
Yeah, he's at his best moment. So it's just amazing how people. It looks one way to the other people and people. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're all struggling with something. That's just a fact.
For sure.
You know.
For sure. So will Bust Down continue or
nah? I mean, Peacock didn't want to make the show anymore, and quite honestly, after all of that, it wouldn't even be possible.
Gotcha.
That was really like our baby, you know, as a group. And Jack poured so much into it. He was such a fuel behind that fire that it just wasn't.
Gotcha. Okay, so I always say this to all the black women in my life. I always say, like, in this business, I give you the most respect because, you know, I see what you guys go through. Not only are you a black woman, but you're a black queer woman. How has that experience been for you in this business?
You know, I was just talking to someone about this last night. It's no different than the world. I didn't come into this business expecting it to somehow be kinder to me than the world has been, or better to me than the world has been. So in that regard, it's just as racist and fucked up as when I worked at Best Buy. I don't know. You know, it's like it's pretty much the same. It's not any more. What makes it, I guess, more is this is actually my dream and not a fucking job at Best Buy.
Right.
So that can make it more frustrating when those type of things happen. But I just always kind of go like, this is not gonna somehow not reflect what is.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, I work with people that I'm like, wow, with all your accolades and who all you and everything you've done, you still have to go through this. So I just wondered what that experience.
But a black businesswoman who works is dealing with the same thing in some other field, and
True.
Because as black people, after all that we've been through and all that we've come, overcome, and how we've still somehow maintained to be like upstanding, contributing members of the society. We still have to prove our value and our, you know what I mean? So it's like, that shit trickles into every fucking thing.
Yeah. Okay, so you had the amazing opportunity a couple weeks ago to be the announcer for the Emmys. What was that experience like for you?
Nerve-wracking.
Okay, how did that even come about? Like, they just...
Random phone call.
That's your life, random phone calls.
I know. I hate doing these.
You should really keep the phone close to you.
I hate doing these because, like, I'll tell how I got something and my friends will be like, I should fucking kill you. I'll be like, so I tripped over a peanut. There was Seinfeld. And then blah, blah, blah. But, we're like, I just got a phone call. Like, would you do this? We would love to do this with you. And I was like, sure.
Okay. And so you enjoyed it? It was fun?
It was very fun.
Like, what's that experience like? Is it nerve-wracking? Is it like...
You just don't want to, like, mess up anyone's name or disrespect anyone. And, for me especially, it's like, this is your moment and, like, your thing. I just want to lay the carpet down and let you, like, have your fucking time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, so just making sure I'm not over-joking it and doing my due diligence, but letting... the people who were there to celebrate, like, have their moment. And I think I messed up Mariska Hargitay's name. which I'm probably still fucking up. And it was, I didn't mess up that many names, but I think that's one that I messed up. But I asked how to pronounce everything. I was like, how do you say this? And that's how I said it.
Do they write it for you phonetically?
Yes. So I said it how they told me to say it. And I had been saying her name for 2 fucking days. And I'm like,
just walking around
checking,
now.
yes. Yes. And I'm checking with people. I'm like, it's this, right? It's this, right? It's this, right? And then I fucking say the name and it's like wrong, you know? And then the next day on Twitter, I guess some like MLB commentator said I was like a disgrace to the whole world.
Are you serious?
Because I need to learn people's fucking names, you know? And it's like, dude, fuck you, you know?
Right.
I did I did my due diligence. You weren't fucking there. You know what I mean? Like, suck my dick. And like the nerve of a white guy talking about mispronouncing fucking names. Like, we won't even get into that.
Right.
I've never had my name said correctly, so like, shut up. But it was, so it was just stressful in that way. You just don't want to fuck anybody over or do anything that fucks anybody's like, well, time up.
So who's giving you a piece of advice that you hold on to dearly? And what was that piece of advice?
Damn, so many people. I'm very blessed to have met great people in this business who have really taken the time to tell me stuff. And it's like different people at different
junctions in your career.
Junctions in my life. I remember my first special, Bill Burr gave me some great advice, and my first time at SNL, Che gave me some great advice.
What did Michael Che tell you? What did he say?
He told me to watch the table, like during table reads, to pay attention. And just because I'm not getting things on, don't not engage. And it helped me a lot. Watching the table helped me learn how to write for the show.
Right.
Because I'm hearing what people are responding to, what they laugh at. I'm also, because when you write a sketch at SNL, you're also casting the sketch. So you're doing all of the work, and I don't think people shouldn't know that. They don't work there.
Right.
So I don't think people know that. They shouldn't. They don't work there. But when you write the sketch, you have to cast it yourself. Mm-hmm. You don't just write it generally and then they go, Kate's gonna do it. No, you say, like, these are the people that I would like in this sketch. And so that's a job in itself, right? So there were sketches I was writing that, like, at the table were absolutely not working because I have it casted wrong. It's just like, this isn't this person's strong suit. This isn't the shit that they kill. So watching the table helped me learn that. Listening to the sketches and watching the table, like, oh, this is when they come alive. Mm-hmm. This is the type of characters they like to play. Mm-hmm. This is the type of, okay, this is how they attack these type of moments. This is the type of energy, because, you know, they all got their own fucking personalities and shit. And that helped me get better at it too, because now I'm casting it properly, so it's coming off the way it should. Mm-hmm. And just watching the rhythm of the table and how it worked really informed how to write for the show. So it was really great advice.
Oh. Okay. So how has family responded to your fame?
They don't care. Or really, like, they care, like, they love me and they're like, great.
Right.
Go do that. But I could just as well be, you know, doing well in an insurance company. And they'd be like,
Best Buy.
Great.
Being a manager.
Great. Do that. You know what I mean? Sometimes it feels like they don't always have a scope of the magnitude of what's happening, you know what I mean? So it's really, they don't know what to be, you know? They're just like, you gotta show.
Have you been able to, like, take it in, or are there moments where you look back and you're like, or do you feel, because some people do two things. Some people take it in and some people are so busy focusing on the next thing that they don't.
I try to balance it. I don't take long moments in it. You know, I take a second and go like, wow, this is fucking cool. Or I have those moments where I'm just
What did you feel when you realized, like, wow, I'm about to have a show on HBO? What was that moment? Did you celebrate? Did you go out? What did you do?
I mean, I think when I first got to the show, you call the homies, like, my homies back home, like, y'all, I'm really about to have an HBO show, this shit crazy. You have that conversation.
Right.
I think me and y'all might have went to dinner and just, you know, had to talk about how I was feeling. She likes to, you know, she's constantly, she's a black woman. She's constantly checking on me spiritually.
Gotcha.
Like, where's your mind? How you feeling?
Just and for y'all to know, Yah is her fiance.
And we had that like download, and then it's really random for me. I feel like if I remember, it was like a random night the billboard had went up because things also aren't real to me till they're done.
Gotcha.
Because I have to go do it. So when I have to go make it. You know, it's like I have a show, but now I have to go make the fucking show.
Right.
And it has to be good, or at least feel like the proper representation of me and what I was trying to create. And
Right.
so I don't even think about it really until I'm on that side of whatever it is. Like it has to get done, you know. So I think it was like the billboard was up and it was like real finally.
Right.
Like the show is coming out. And I just walked by myself around Long Island City at night and like cried.
Aww.
Had my little cry, listened to Kanye.
Oh.
Came in the house.
Do you still listen? Thoughts on Kanye since you brought him up, I would have never did it, but what are your thoughts on the White Lives Matter?
I have no thoughts on Kanye, but
Gotcha.
that I hope the good brother gets the help that he needs.
Amen to that. Okay, so is there another season of Pause coming out?
No.
What?
I know.
Oh my
You're
goodness.
getting an exclusive.
Oh my gosh. So
I don't even know if you'll be able to use this actually, but no.
okay. Well, it's still a great show, and it's still gonna be on.
I feel
HBO.
so good about it,
Yeah.
honestly. What's great about now too is like things get to live still. Like it's on a streamer, it's not going anywhere. People will still be able to access it. I really was like in a place where I needed a break. I had already told HBO, I was like, I want to take a year off from this, no matter kind of
Whatever
happens.
y'all decide.
Because emotionally, it's just it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and I just felt like I needed to live some life to even be able to come back to this and give it anything. So I was already feeling that, you know, and I also just feel like it's allowing room for me to do other things, and that's nice.
Do you prefer TV or do you prefer on the road stand-up?
I don't have no preference. I like both of them for different reasons.
Gotcha.
They both serve a purpose, you know? And I'm glad that I found TV, and I didn't know I was gonna like it as much as I do like it, you know what I mean? But it's just another way to create and another way to be funny.
Okay. Well, I always ask people my final question, which is...
Oh, already at the end? This was so fun.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said so. Maybe the other people will see it too and think the same. Okay, but yeah, I wanted to know, like, what does Sam J find beauty in?
You know, it's like cornerly, and it's very lately. I've been finding a lot of beauty in like kids being happy.
Oh.
And just watching kids like play or watching someone play with their baby and they're just like smiling and just like the freedom that is when you're just watching kids like do their thing without a care in the world. That's been pretty cool.
Do you want kids?
I don't think so.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't think so.
Not in this world. There's
Yeah,
something about this
no.
world that just makes you say, yeah.
I'm not even that deep. It's just like a lot to do, and I'm chilling. You know, like my life is pretty cool and chill. And
Right.
I don't know that I want to disturb it with all that.
Right.
It's a lot. It's a disruptance, and everyone I know with kids, it's poor. Even the rich people I know, they're like they have to act poor because they have kids. You know, I don't know. It just seems like a big ass burden. No offense. It just seems.
I agree.
I don't know why I would weigh myself down like that. And I know it's fucked up because had someone not done it, I wouldn't be here.
True.
And we need people to do it or like the human race will cease to exist. So thank you for everybody who is doing it. But baby, it's like money, it's like annoying. You can't ever like just leave it somewhere.
And once it's forever.
And it's here forever.
Yeah.
And it might disappoint you. Like your kid might be a fucking dud. Like you put all that money and time and then your kid's like really like a fucking dud.
It's Jeffrey Dahmer.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
a true dud of a situation and you're like, well, that. Fuck.
Look what I brought to society.
Yeah, like fuck me, you know?
Oh my God, my stomach hurts. Oh my gosh.
Not interested.
I get it.
I got a cat.
Okay, what's your cat's name?
Fancy. And that's enough.
Okay. Okay, can I ask this question and I'll edit it out if you don't want to answer it.
For sure.
You had made a joke with the trans community and it didn't go over well.
Yeah.
You made a joke with the trans community.
It did not go over well.
It did not go
definitely
over
didn't
well.
go the way I thought it would.
What is your response to that? Like because I know
I always feel bad if I made someone feel bad.
Gotcha.
Because that's not my intention. So I can always own up to that part of something. Like if I hurt someone or I made them feel bad, that was not what I was seeking to do. So I can apologize for that. Okay. So that part of it, I have apologized for. I apologize for because that wasn't my goal. I don't apologize for thinking the way I think. Though.
Gotcha.
And I don't apologize for maybe having controversial thoughts.
Gotcha.
And I just think I had to I didn't really have to do anything but what I do, which is respect people, hear them, consider that
right.
perspective,
right,
and take it with me as I move forward as a person.
Do you think people want to? Because sometimes, in a way, it feels as if people don't even want the apology; they want to be able to stay in the anger space.
Of course,
because that makes
they want it fits the narrative, and that's easier. That's why even pause was the way it is. It's like no. Do the harder part and live in the gray of the conversation and the confusion rather than just these hard lines that we like to draw. Like, no, that means this. Like, that was the most frustrating part about it. It was like people being like, you hate trans people. And it's like, well, that's such a harsh and blanket statement to make because you didn't like a joke or you didn't like the perspective of a joke.
Right.
Or you misunderstood the intention of a joke.
Right.
To then just make that my stance when I've never said anything close to anything like that.
Right.
Was like, that's a wild thing to do. But weirdly, I was just talking about this last night because someone brought it up. But it's like, to me, the proof is in the pudding, you know? As long as I keep living the way I live, which I really try to care about people, be considerate of people, hear people. I'm constantly a person who's willing to change and grow and take on other perspectives. And, you know, I keep trying to just be a better person every day and make sure that I'm out here being good. And if I continue to do that, then it's impossible for you to attach those things to me.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay. I know I said last question, but I'm going to ask you this one too. What was your coming out process like? And do you think it's easier for girls than it is for guys to come out? Like, did everybody just be like, oh, Sam, girl, that's cool? Like, oh, girl.
I mean, I think too, it was a few factors. Like, at that point, my mom had died, so I didn't feel beholden to anybody to, tell.
Okay, so if your mom was still alive, do you feel?
I don't know. I always say I don't know. That probably would have been I know it would have been a very different process. For sure. I was very ballsy about it because I didn't
You had
give
nothing
a
to
fuck.
lose at that
I
point.
had nothing to lose. It was like whatever.
The one person that I care about their opinion is not
like
here.
what are you gonna do or say? And my stepdad had passed away too by that time. So it was kind of like, you know, who's what? And I was living away from my family. We had contention over these deaths and, you know, there was issues there. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was like, who's gonna tell me anything? I could give a fuck, you know? Mm-hmm. But personally, so I feel like I had to come out to myself more than I had this.
Because how old were you when you
thing that I was like 25, 24.
So up to then you were dating guys or you just was sort of
I was dating guys, then for like 2 years I just wasn't dating anybody. I was just in this standstill of oh, none of these guys are the right guys to I'm just chilling.
Right. So at the time, did you feel like you were genuinely interested in the guys or did you
100%. I 100% thought I liked it.
Okay. Until you did.
I didn't have anything to compare it to. It's you know.
Right.
So I ate another fruit and then I was like, oh, this fruit actually ain't that bomb. It's just fruit. This is actually good. You know?
Right. Okay. And so, all right. I guess.
So it was like I had to come onto myself. I feel like it was just figuring me out was the bigger piece of it for me.
Okay.
Than the family side of it. I just showed up with a girlfriend and a short haircut one day to a family function.
And what was the response?
Nothing. People were just I was like, this is my girlfriend. They're like, okay.
You know, it was
a couple of uncles put me to the side, this shit for real, you know? And male cousins, but other than that, and I think people, At that time too, I was kind of a black sheep. So
Right.
I think people kind of like, Samaria's just doing some Samaria shit.
Right.
I think also to some degree, people knew I was always a tomboy and like on the masculine side of things. I didn't really play with my girl cousins. I didn't like dolls like that. And like when the babies were born, I didn't want to fuck with the babies. I thought that was crazy. Like how they would just sit in the house all day and just be with the babies, like go outside.
Right.
Fucking weirdos. You know, that's weird. You're a baby, nigga. Why you hanging out? Like, it's weird. So I just never was into none of that shit anyway. And I think I was always a little masculine leaning. Like my friends knew, like a lot of friends I told, they were like, yeah, bitch. You know, like we were waiting for you to land on that eventually. And it was like, oh, cool.
Oh, she's
So I don't think I was as straight as I thought I was being when I was being it, you know?
It was so cute when I saw the little picture with your little perm. Was it a perm or a press? You had a perm or a press?
Then I think I had a perm.
Oh, it was so cute.
Think I had a perm.
It was so cute.
Jesus.
I was like, look at this picture. I was like, look at Sam. Oh my God, Sam.
I look back at that person, I'm like, what a tragedy.
Really
what
though?
a fucking yes, like, oh my God, I was the worst girl.
What was tragic about it?
I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
You were pretty though. I mean, I
was
think
the
you just are beautiful. But like you had the most prettiest eyes.
I was the worst girl. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to do my hair. I was constantly burning my ends and shit, really colonizing shit. I looked stupid as fuck. I looked like a football player when I would walk in here. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Like none of that was correct.
Could you
ever.
no, clearly you couldn't do your own makeup.
No fucking way.
Did you wear anything? Any like
No,
lip
I
gloss?
wouldn't do. You know what? I got a Bobbi Brown foundation stick. And that I lived and died by that foundation stick. That's all I knew how to do was go this, and the lady at the counter showed me that, and I just remembered it. Like, bitch, I got you. That's all I had, and like a MAC lipstick, and I was like, yeah, this is it. This is as far as I'm gonna go. You made me remember that. Yes, I had that Bobbi Brown foundation stick. Bitch, you couldn't tell me shit. I thought I was doing makeup.
You was like, yeah.
I was doing makeup. Like, I didn't even know till I became gay. It's all bitch do makeup. Like, after we fucked and I was just chilling in the crib. And I was like, oh, that's a lot of shit. I wasn't doing none of that. I wasn't doing none of that jazz.
I was doing the basics.
Bruh, get it even looking and get to stepping.
Oh my gosh.
Terrible.
Sam, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you. It's more than you know. What would Sam love to do next? Not even what you're doing next. What are some of your goals? Like,
man.
Or are you one of those people that don't like to talk about it? Bevy Smith says she's been on the show. She loves to say she likes to talk about stuff to put it out in the atmosphere. Are you a person that likes to talk about what you want? Or you don't?
No, I'm a doer.
Gotcha.
I just like to go do it and then be like, here it is.
Here it is.
Yeah, but I don't even know, like, right now I'm just happy being creative, you know, like I'm getting all these different opportunities to like try new things and create in new ways and that's super exciting to me, and like I don't need that to be specifically anything right now. I'm just really like having fun, free falling.
Okay, I love it. Well, thank you so much. I would say go to your social media. People should go to your social media, but you don't really use your social media.
Wow, don't say that. My managers hate that about me. Oh my God. They do. They talk to me about it all the time. Like, you really gotta. And I'm
You gotta
like,
make more of a presence.
and I'm like, I don't know, man.
Not really into it.
I'm not. I feel like I do a little bit.
Well, what is it anyway? So,
I do a little bit.
do you have like a YouTube page with your clips and stuff pulled together?
No.
I mean, they're on there. There's
Yeah,
all these
they're
different
not. But
ones.
there's not like a central place.
Yeah. Central place.
I never even thought to do something like that until you just said it out your mouth.
Oh, okay. Well, see, look at me helping you.
I'm probably not gonna do it.
It's okay. Well, thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
And yeah, love you so much.
Love you too, boo.
Mwah.
Behind the scenes.